Let there be light.
And there was light. And God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, one day. And God said,
Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters.
And God made the firmament, and separated the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. And there was evening, and there was morning, a second day. And God said,
Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear.
And it was so. God called the dry land earth, and the waters that were gathered together he called seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said,
Let the earth put forth vegetation, plants yielding seed, and fruit trees bearing fruit in which is their seed, each according to its own kind upon the earth.
And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, a third day. And God said,
Let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years, and let them give light upon the earth.
And it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light upon the earth, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was an evening and a morning, a fourth day. And God said,
Let the waters bring forth swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the firmament of the heavens.
So God created the great sea monsters, and every living creature that lives, with which the waters swarm, according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, a fifth day. And God said,
Let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kinds, cattle and creeping things, and beasts of the earth according to their kinds.
And it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth according to their kinds, and the cattle according to their kinds, and everything that creeps upon the ground according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. Then the Lord God formed man of dust from the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. And God said,
Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth.
And the Lord God planted a garden in Eden, in the east, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground the Lord God made to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight, and good for food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying,
You may freely eat of every tree of the garden, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat of it you shall die.
Then the Lord God said,
It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helper, fit for him.
So the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man, and while he slept, took one of his ribs and closed up its place with flesh. And the rib which the Lord God had taken from the man, he made into a woman, and brought her to the man.
This at last is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man.
Therefore a man leaves his father and cleaves to his wife, and they become one flesh. And the man and his wife were both naked, and they were not ashamed. God created man in his image. In the image of God he created him. God blessed them and said to them,
Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth, subdue and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the sky, and over all things that crawl on the earth.
And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good.
Read on, brother. I'm listening.
And there was evening, and there was morning, a sixth day. And on the seventh day God finished the work which he had done. And he rested on the seventh day from all the work which he had done. So God blessed the seventh day and hallowed it, because on it God rested from all his work which he had done in creation. Now the serpent was more subtle than any other wild creature the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, Did God say you shall not eat of any tree in the garden?
We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but God said, You shall not eat of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden. Neither shall you touch it, lest you die.
But the serpent said to the woman,
You will not die, for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. The fruit is delicious, like no other fruit in the garden, plus it brings wisdom. You're a fool not to eat it.
For when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and it was a delight for the eyes, and it was to be desired to make one wise, she took of its fruit and ate, and also gave some to her husband, and he ate. Then the eyes of both were opened, and they realized they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together to make aprons and loincloths. And they heard the sound of God walking in the garden, and hid themselves from his presence among the trees in the garden. But the Lord God called the man, saying,
Where are you?
I'm over here, behind these bushes. I could hear you walking in the garden behind me, and I was afraid because I'm naked, so I hid myself.
Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten fruit from the tree that I commanded you not to touch?
The woman that you gave me to live with and be next to, she is the one who picked the fruit from the tree, my lord. She gave it to me.
Woman, what have you done?
The serpent deceived me, and I ate one of the fruits from the tree, my lord.
Cursed serpent, because you have done this, I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. As for you, woman, I will greatly multiply your pain in childbearing. In pain you shall bring forth children. And you, man, because you have listened to the voice of your wife, and have eaten from the tree that I forbade you, cursed is the ground because of you. In toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life. In the sweat of your face you shall eat bread, until you return to the ground. For out of it you were taken. You are dust, and to dust you shall return.
The man called his wife Eve, because she was the mother of all. And the Lord God made garments of skin for Adam and his wife, and clothed them. He drove them out and east of the Garden of Eden, and placed the cherubim and a flaming sword to guard the way to the tree of life. This was the origin of the universe.